All right, y'all. So the Democrats hold America hostage. Not because they can't find a solution, y'all, because they don't want one. Let's go ahead and tally up these numbers because the Democrats always seem to pretend that numbers don't count. Now, Exhibit A, if you look here to my left or maybe your right, you would see how every senator voted on that bill to avert government shutdown. Now, take a look at the very top. We have 55, majority of them Republicans, that already said yes. And you look at the bottom, the opposed 45, which are majority of Democrats, voted no. Now, you only needed 5 more votes because you need 60 in total to keep the government open. Okay, because I got to break it down because people just research. Y'all be looking real crazy talking about Trump shut down the government and you ain't doing your research. It's this simple. It's this simple. Now, we needed 60 votes. So that means we only needed 5 more people to vote in order for the government to stay open, to continue to fund the federal workers and funding the EBT videos that are floating around here to keep the government open. But the Democrats rather see America suffer, vote after vote, saying no over 12 times and counting now because they can't get their way. And yet people are saying Trump administration, the Republicans, caused the government to shut down. No, boo-boo. The Democrats did. So the very people that voted for these Democrats in these seats, get your butts up now and go vote right. Okay? Because I don't know how many more lies y'all are going to sit here and take from these people. These are the same folks that ran out in Texas and went to other states or whatever because they didn't want to vote on the other bills that was going to actually help Texas and other things. These are the same people. Come on now. Think smarter. Think smarter. Seriously. Let's get into it, y'all. Next clip. And Bernie is just as fake as they come, y'all. He's screaming like, oh, feeding the families, this, that, and the other. But he voted over 13 times no. No. But yet people still rock with this dude. If y'all want to scream and holler and do all these videos and things about that, do it towards your very own people who keeping y'all in shambles. Okay? Let's get into it. Coming straight from Anthony, not on X. Anthony Court on X. If y'all want to follow this guy, let's dive into it.
Is Bernie Sanders getting senile? He says that it's outrageous that Trump refuses to release the $5 billion to fund SNAP and feed our children. He knows that Trump can't unilaterally release emergency funds for benefits without Congress passing a budget, but he knows most of the people that support him don't know that. Also, it would require $8 to $10 billion to probably fund SNAP for a month and wouldn't even cover it. Oh, and does Uncle Bernie know that him and his party blocked the continuing resolution that would have provided that? Not just once, but 13 times they voted against it. Hey, Bernie, is that you?
Yeah.
You know who voted not to fund the government? These people voted to fund the government and provide SNAP. And these people didn't. And there's you. So these funds you're talking about, they're for an emergency, not a political ploy by the Democrats to shut down the government. Fuck! If you really want to feed kids, maybe vote yes on the fucking continuing resolution and give up the political ploy bullshit. How do we tag Uncle Bernie and let him know?
Period. Period. That's what I'm saying. So, like, y'all renting these videos and stuff like that. Y'all need to be renting about these folks that's continue to keep the government shut down. I mean, what? Yo, research, dog. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. We get into Stacey Washington. That's Stacey on the right. American taxpayer has been footing the bill for illegal immigration. Government 2020 shutdown. Let's dive into the clip, y'all.
Stop fraud in immigration. You have no choice but to support this amendment.
So what's interesting about that is he now has a completely different aspect. He doesn't believe that illegal aliens should be prevented from getting driver's licenses or anything else that might actually prevent them from living the full American experience. And that's robbing us of our experience and our taxpayer dollars and even our way of life, because illegals have been found to vote in elections. And if that were ever to become a large number, a large percentage, we would lose our country. And that's one of the reasons why I don't support the Democrats anymore, because they don't make sense on anything that has to do with the rule of law or doing what's right for Americans.
Stop fraud in immigration.
All right. So Stacey couldn't have said it no better, y'all. Okay. So can we make sense of this? Meanwhile, federal workers are going unpaid. SNAP is running out of funding, but yet they're still wanting to push healthcare and housing, all these things for the illegal immigrants. No, not the American citizens, but illegal immigrants. And y'all mad because Trump administration saying no, they not finna put they sticking their foot down to the ground because they not about to allow this. Why would we add all this ish right back into the bill, taken away from the American citizens? No, we not doing it. So let the government shutdown continue. Y'all, seriously, we got to do better. Now, with that being said, y'all, we finna dive into the next clip coming straight from Michelle Maxwell. Breaking update, just in case y'all want to go ahead and know exactly how this government shutdown is working. We're about to dive into this clip. Let's get into it.
Why is the government shutdown not a both sides issue? Why are the Democrats to blame? Well, Democrats are using a short-term spending bill to push long-term policy changes that don't belong there. They've said it outright. They will not vote to reopen the government unless their healthcare demands are met. What they're demanding is an extension of temporary COVID-era spending that artificially lowered healthcare costs under the Affordable Care Act. Those measures were not part of the ACA itself. They were emergency subsidies created under the American Rescue Plan Act and later extended through 2025 by the Inflation Reduction Act. When that spending expires, the ACA simply returns to its original pricing framework. Not a spike, not a crisis, just a return to baseline after years of inflated relief funding. And yes, people will feel it. Premiums will adjust. But that's not because Republicans raised prices. It's because Democrats are refusing to admit that these subsidies were temporary. They're using the fear of higher costs, a perception they created, to justify holding the government hostage. And because Republicans are in full power, this is great leverage to make it look like it's their fault. Now, here's where it gets even more reckless.
Come on.
They're not just trying to extend the pandemic subsidies, they're also trying to reopen and revise parts of the One Big Beautiful Bill, a massive spending law that's already been passed and signed into law earlier this year. The One Big Beautiful Bill reshaped portions of Medicaid and other federal programs, and Democrats now want to undo sections of it by tying their changes to the current funding debate. Instead of debating revisions through normal legislative order, they're trying to squeeze them into the continuing resolution, which is a short-term bill that's supposed to do one thing: keep basic government operations funded. And that's the abuse here. A continuing resolution isn't a policy-making tool per se. It's a bridge, a stopgap to prevent a shutdown while Congress negotiates the full budget, using it to rewrite sections of existing law, whether that's the pandemic relief measures or the One Big Beautiful Bill, is procedural malpractice. Again, not the right place, not the right time. Look, the Democrats are desperate. They are held captive by the socialist wing of their party, the Democratic Socialists of America. And they know the only thing they have to appease that base is empty rhetoric about Trump, MAGA, and the Republicans.
All of that.
So it's not really about healthcare, in my view. It's about control, about rewriting existing law through the wrong channel and using a temporary funding bill to do it. And as more people understand that, it'll be hard to unsee the man behind the curtain.
Thank you so much for that breakdown, because some of these folks need it. Some of these folks really need it. With that being said, y'all, it's going to bring me to my next clip, because I'm not going to keep y'all here all day. Do your research on how this stuff actually happens and why there's a shutdown to begin with. Finally, a voice of reason, y'all. Rick Scott says what all us American people have been thinking. Okay, let's get into it. Coming straight from Carter Hughes on X. That's Carter Hughes on X. If y'all want to follow this guy, let's dive into the clip, y'all.
If you didn't do your job in business, you didn't get paid. You don't show up and do your job, you don't get paid. Why are we getting paid? We shouldn't get paid if we don't do our job. We need to figure out how to work together to get our budgets done. It's as simple as that.
So you're going to offer legislation to not get paid during shutdowns?
Absolutely. I already have a bill.
Let's go.
We've got a bill that we don't get paid during the shutdown. Ron Johnson's got a bill that we'll never have shutdowns That should pass also. But on top of that, what are the Democrats doing? This is a clean resolution. All we're doing is keeping the funding. Actually, the funding is too high. It's still the Biden funding. But I don't want to shut down government, so I support it. But the Democrats, they want a shutdown for whatever reason. How is this good for the country? Nobody wins with a shutdown. If you didn't do your job in business,
And that is facts. Put fire to their tails, because many people are not even able to see paychecks or anything like that, while the politicians are meanwhile cashing theirs out. They chilling. But American people are literally suffering. And all because of what? The Democrats can't have their way. They want to squeeze stuff in, like dude said, to a bill that was already signed in law to help who? Who? Not the American citizens, the illegals. And these are facts. Let's keep it moving, y'all, because we can't make none of this stuff up. Today is day, what, we going on what, 29 days now of the Schumer shutdown. Democrats have not voted, now voted 14 times to keep the government shut down. 14 times, y'all. Let's dive into the clip.
Biggest union representing federal employees is demanding an end to the shutdown.
Congressman, the largest federal workers union, obviously putting pressure on the Democrats. They want to go back to work. They want to open the government up again. Do you think Schumer is close to cracking?
I think so. I mean, look, at the end of the day, federal workers, I think one of the big unions now said this, enough is enough. You have 42 million people who are on food stamps, SNAP benefits, whatever you want to call it. That money's running out. And Chuck Schumer's still trying to demonstrate that he's got a backbone. I mean, that's what this is all about. We've been consistent for a month on this entire matter. And people need to remember, Chuck Schumer, back in March, voted for the same continuing resolution that he's now saying no to. So this is all politics, and it's the politics of the worst kind, Stu. You can't put health care for illegal aliens over hardworking men and women in this country, military personnel who are not getting paid, air traffic controllers who are not getting paid. It's time for Chuck Schumer and the radical left to see reality and just go vote to reopen the government so we can get back to the business of the American people.
Facts, and sit down. This ought to tell y'all a lot about y'all people, whoever voted for these Democrats, yo. Because they sit in here and they're punishing the working Americans for simply and protecting people who actually broke our freaking laws. They want to continue to use our tax dollars to fund these people that broke our laws. Make it make sense. We can't make this ish up. Let's keep it going. Like, it's crazy. Crazy work. Now, here you go. Hakeem Jeffries, tired ass, sitting here lying once again, because this is what the party do. They love to lie, and I just don't see how y'all folks can rock with these folks. They lie straight boldly to y'all face. Check them out. Coming straight from N Jagger on X, y'all, N Jagger 29. Hakeem Jeffries said that no illegal immigrant are receiving SNAP benefits in the United States. None. This is what he say. All right, well, Queen B got facts after this. Let's go ahead and dive into this clip real quick.
And under current law, undocumented immigrants are already ineligible for Medicaid, the ACA exchanges, and for SNAP benefits. Not a single undocumented immigrant in this country gets a dime in federal taxpayer dollars for any part of comprehensive Medicaid coverage. Not one. And so when we're talking about nearly 14 million people who are going to be thrown off their health insurance, millions of others who are going to be jammed up by this aggressive cut to SNAP, the largest cut to food assistance in American history, we're talking about American children. We're talking about everyday Americans. We're talking about Americans with disabilities. And when it comes to nutritional assistance, we're talking about veterans who have served this country, sacrificed, risked it all. And they're going to lose access to the food assistance they need to live a life of dignity and respect. Those are the facts. That's why we're fighting hard to stop this GOP tax scam that will hurt everyday Americans dead in its tracks. And on the current
And yet they are hurting everyday Americans, y'all, because again, they are the ones who voted no. Okay. These are the very people who would rather extend health care, SNAP benefits, housing, all of the above to illegal immigrants. Now, you heard how he tried to say for the American people, the citizens of the United States, let's fast forward now to right now. Who's causing the hold up to the American citizens? Who's holding the SNAP benefits? Who's holding the people up from getting paid, the federal workers and things like that? Who? This very man. But guess who's still getting it though? Let's bring the facts. This type of stuff y'all need to watch. Go back and listen to what these folk were saying. All right, check this out. Coming straight from Derek Evans on X, y'all. That's Derek Evans 4WV. Check this out.
42 million people in this country that need food stamps on a weekly basis. And we're saying people deliberately instead of Americans, because most of the people that are on food stamps aren't even from this country. 45% of Afghanistan immigrants are on food stamps. 42% of Somali immigrants. 34% of every immigrant from Iraq. 23% of Haitians. 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps.
Wow.
Meaning that most of the people getting food stamps from the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer are not even Americans.
Wow.
Think about that. And we didn't know about any of this before the government shutdown started. But thanks to Democrats, we can confirm tonight that millions of Joe Biden illegal aliens, people who crossed the border when Joe was president, are now collecting food stamps from a program funded by hardworking American taxpayers. There are 42 million people in this.
Now y'all eat that up. Eat it up. It be your own people. Your own dang people. Now you gotta sit there and be looking really crazy that these folks that ain't even U.S. citizens are eating. Meanwhile, your family finna suffer these holidays because your people want to continue to keep the government shut down so they can continue to do what they doing right now. Feeding everybody all around the world except for the U.S. citizens. Make it make sense. We can't make this ish up. Let's keep this thing going. I'm on one. Meanwhile, coming straight from Pamsy now on X, y'all. Now Pamsy, if y'all want to follow her, Dems are lying still in voting no to open the government. Yeah, let's keep it going because I'm sick of y'all not researching. Let go.
All right, latest updates on the shutdown.
Other impact of the shutdown, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP benefits, will run out November 1st if the government doesn't reopen before then. We're talking late next week. A few hours ago, Maryland Governor Wes Moore put out a statement. He says the Trump administration hasn't guaranteed states will be reimbursed for covering federal expenses like food benefits, which has been the case during previous shutdowns. The governor says, quote, "We will continue to do everything in our power to ensure the federal government follows the law and provides funding for the critical services that our families, our children, and our veterans rely on."
This is interesting. All right, so there are several things about the shutdown that people like Governor Moore are likely going to be fairly dishonest with you about. And there's actually three things that you need to know about the shutdown. Number one, there have been 12 votes. Count them. 12 votes in order to reopen the government. The Republicans consistently vote yes. There are a few Democrats that have crossed party lines in order to vote yes. But guess what? Governor Wes Moore, he's barking up the wrong tree. He's going after the Trump administration. He needs to go after Senator Chris Van Hollen, Senator Angela Alto-Brooks, who all 12 times voted no. I do not want to open the government. That's literally the legislation. So number one, this is still a Democrat shutdown because the Democrats are voting no to open the government. The Republicans are voting yes to open the government. Here's another thing you probably didn't know. A few days ago, there was actually a vote that was introduced by Republicans in order to pay essential workers. If people are working, there's a lot of people in the federal government that are working that are not getting paid. Republicans introduced legislation to pay those workers. Guess what? The Democrats voted no, and that includes Angela Alto-Brooks and Senator Chris Van Hollen, right? This is just common sense stuff. And again, the reason they keep voting no, it's not because they're in some pursuit of some grand thing. It's because it is leverage in order for them to get legislative priorities that they could never pass through law. We've talked about this several times. And by the way, if you want more details on that, go check out my friend Euripsy Morgan. She did a great video outlining and going into specifically the words of this Democrat whip that was basically saying this is leverage for us. Finally, there is another vote or another piece of legislation introduced by another Republican senator that says, hey, let's.
Okay, y'all. So midterms is here. What y'all finna do? What y'all gonna do? Continue to vote for the very same people that want to keep y'all below? Continue to keep voting with your feelings? Continue to keep letting fake news feed your brains instead of literally researching? It's right there. It's out there. Y'all take and run with the fake news, get y'all and run with it. And then repost and stuff like you just like, and just look just as ignorant as the fake news people looking and everybody else who've been brainwashed by these folks. It's y'all people. Y'all people are the ones that's keeping y'all down below. Y'all people are the ones that are starving your families and things right now. Y'all people are the ones that have been turning their back on y'all for how long? Seriously. Let's keep it moving. Because we can't make none of this stuff up, y'all. Let's dive into the next clip. Coming straight from Patriot Osis on X. If y'all want to follow this person, holy crap, Mike Johnson lays it all out. Let's get into it.
The time to bring the House back to pass a new is fewer than 3 months.
Wouldn't that be a futile exercise when we have a CR that's been sitting over there since September 19th? If I brought the House back and we passed another CR, it would meet the exact same fate of Chuck Schumer. He would mock it, they would spike it, and they would try to blame it on us. So what would be the point of that? We're all concerned about the timing. The Democrats are eating up the clock. We have very important work to do here, and that's why we're pleading with them, not Chuck Schumer. Look, I think Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are irredeemable at this point. I don't think they'll be able to tell Mondami in New York and his disciples that they voted to open the government. I've given up on the leadership. So we're trying to appeal to a handful of moderates or centrists who care more about the American people and will put the people's interest over their own and do the right thing in the Senate. I mean, there's no point in me sitting down with Chuck Schumer. He's painted himself into a corner. I get all that. Mondami it looks like he's going to win and be the mayor of New York City. And Hakeem Jeffries came out and endorsed him. That's all you need to know. Hakeem Jeffries is terrified that Mondami, one of his disciples, is going to challenge him in his own seat in the election next fall. You've already seen that rumored. Some of you have reported on it. So he had to do it. He had to endorse socialism. He had to endorse Marxism. This dangerous ideology that has taken over the Democrat Party, that is what is motivating them. So it doesn't matter what we do in the House. It doesn't matter what we pass. We have to get a handful of moderates over there who care about America to do the right thing. We need at least 7 Democrats. It takes 60 votes in the Senate to pass it. This is not the Republicans. This fault is squarely on the shoulders of the Democrats, and they are the ones causing you the pain, and don't ever let them forget it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't. Midterms. Go out and vote. Vote now. You ain't got to wait till November 4th. Vote now. So here's Queen B's thoughts on this, y'all. They told us that it was Trump's fault and all of the above, right? But when you trace the votes, the speeches, and the money, if you think about it, it's staring y'all right in your faces. The Democrats failed to respond. The Democrats failed to reopen the government. They refused to. And yet they want to blame it on the Republicans. I just showed y'all in the beginning how majority of Republicans plus a few Democrats voted yay, while the other ones voted no. Because keeping America in a crisis, y'all, is the way the Democrats can gain their control. So they gonna ride this train out like they tried to ride the train out in Texas before they dumb butts came back knowing they couldn't afford all these fees and other things like that. But we see clearly through y'all now. We see y'all. And come November 4th, y'all make sure y'all don't forget this shutdown, okay? Who's behind the shutdown? Who's been behind all the chaos? Again, don't go in there voting on feelings. Go in there voting on what you research, what you're watching, and facts. You want to see a change? It's on you. It's clearly on you.